All right, let me see if this thing is working. Nothing is going right today. I don't know. I think I started today off on a bad note. Give me 1 second, guys. It's Player Talk Radio. Give me 1 second. Build this plane while we fly it. Give me 1 second. Let's see if Let's see if everything is going well. Put a one in the chat if you guys hear me. Restructure some stuff and move some things around, and nothing is going right to nothing is going right to them. Strange reason. But we're here. It's Player Talk Radio. I can't even monitor my own damn screen because this thing here. Hold on, y'all. Let me actually monitor it myself. I can't even do it off my phone. I goddamn Wiz Khalifa going to jail. That's crazy. Out of all people. Okay, you guys can hear me. All right. Hold on. See how good this is. All right, this is good. It's not that bad. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on. You have Wiz Khalifa. Or I just saw it as soon as I went live. I was like, damn, they sending Wiz Khalifa to jail for like 9 months in Romania. So I guess I ain't the only one going through it. So hey, hopefully he's good. But shout outs to everybody here. Please hit the like button. Let me know if you guys could hear me and stuff. Let's get into this. I was supposed to cover uh Nick Fuentes and Piers Morgan. I don't know why I keep saying Pearl Davis. Why does Pearl's name keep coming up for some fucking reason? Maybe something's in the water, y'all. But let's see if we can actually get into it and cover it because I'm not sure what's going on, man. The fucking connection is sketchy. Not and look, here it goes. Yeah, this connection is damn near sketchy as hell. All right, but y'all let me know how it's coming out on y'all and if y'all can hear it and stuff like that. But a lot of people been reacting to it. Shit, even Pearl reacted to it. So I guess that's why that's probably why I mentioned Pearl. Um, Joe Rogan reacted to it. This is your girl got a new haircut. But let's actually take a listen to it, and then I guess we can go over people's reaction to it. You know. All right, let's go. This shit is bad. Hold on, guys.
Times reader, NPR fan, and Daily Wire subscriber, an avid consumer of all things Tucker Carlson. For several months now, there's been no avoiding the subject of Nick Fuentes. And let's be clear, the main reason you're hearing about him is because he's popular. A large number of people, especially young men, are interested in what he has to say. What that says about our society and our culture is the subject of many people. It's a grave indictment of an insidious immorality. For others, he's a product of a culture which has turned on its own and left many young people feeling listless and bitter. Either a litmus test for right-wing hypocrisy on free speech or a walking...
What's good, Young Wealth? Good to see you, bro.
...talking manifestation of where the line should be drawn. And a frankly preposterous amount of air has been spent on debating everything from his ideology to his sexuality and whether anyone should actually talk to him at all.
If I were writing a glossary entry on the Streisand effect, I wouldn't put a picture.
What the hell is a Streisand effect? Oh,
Picture of her next to it. I would put a picture of Nick Fuentes.
To not do so when it like Nick's.
Fuentes takes this guy apart brick by brick. It's a full takedown.
Concern is that people who are a bit more moderate are deeply alarmed by Nick Fuentes.
I was very happy to see that Nick Fuentes really passed that test with flying colors.
That fragmentation is being caused purposefully.
Hey, here go your boy Ben Shapiro. You know, he don't like Nick. And I wonder if he slowed down a little bit. I mean, because, you know, he has like a little falling out going on with Candace Owens. And actually, this is funny that I pause it right here because I've actually really never seen Ben Shapiro wear his yarmulke. But I guess we're in holiday, you know, so he got the B now. Let's go.
By a splinter faction of people led by a young man named Nick Fuentes.
That's the war. Can you get the beef prices down? Not crazy things that Nick Fuentes or these other loons say on social media.
Well, it looks like all the screaming about Nick Fuentes on the internet is finally dying down a little bit.
So now we had on this guy, this Fuentes guy, and never challenged him.
You should have Nick Fuentes on your show and you could ask him questions about that.
The truth is, it doesn't make a lot of sense to spend all this time talking about Nick Fuentes, not actually to Nick Fuentes. People who say...
I'm just trying to see how he got this whole... I'm just trying to see how he got all these people in a chokehold. These older cats in a damn chokehold. Because like I said, good, bad, right or wrong, there's a lot of people out here that actually agree with Nick Fuentes. And he can do no wrong in their eyes. You know what I'm saying? But surprisingly, a lot of the people that agree with Nick Fuentes, they're older cats. So, I don't know. I don't know how that's working. Like, is this like a social media phenomenon for them? Because it's like, okay, well, they're starting to open up to, you know, politics on the internet. And then here comes this young cat that might be saying what they want to hear or what they've been thinking, and all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, they agree with him. You know, somebody agrees with him, and it's not even just somebody. I would be surprised. It's probably a bunch of people that agree with him. You know, I've been saying this for years at this point. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people probably agree with Nick Fuentes, and they just, you know, he's speaking for people that feel that they can't speak up about certain things and things like that and stuff. So, you know, I'm not surprised at this quote unquote phenomena. But hey.
You shouldn't give him a platform, overlook the very obvious fact that he already has a platform of his own, which is often bigger than most of the people complaining, and he uses it to speak unchallenged to his many followers. It's on that basis I've invited him to appear live and uncensored on my platform, and Nick Fuentes joins me now. Nick Fuentes, welcome to Uncensored.
Hi, great to be with you.
I don't know you. I don't think we've ever met. You can correct me if that's wrong. I know about you. I know that increasingly people are talking about you in a more mainstream environment than you may be used to. So for those of you...
And this is what I was talking about when it came to the space. Before I royally got screwed over by the quote-unquote black manosphere, you know. Look how the man has a equal, if not better or comparable looking setup and backdrop and everything compared to Piers Morgan. Man, this shit crazy. But let's go.
You know nothing about Nick Fuentes.
Even the lighting, similar.
I want this to be an opportunity to get to the real person. I don't know who that person is, but I do want to use...
Niggas look like they in the same studio.
Use this opportunity to get there. I've seen you talk, as we prepared for this, in exchanges with people and on your show, saying you fear it's going to be very hostile, ambush, all those kind of things. I don't need to ambush you. I intend it to be an examination of what you said on the record, an examination of what you believe or what you say you believe, and an examination of what your rising popularity says about the state of the conservative movement in America from this interview. What are your goals? Why are you doing it?
I thought it'd be interesting. And, you know, you've talked about me on your show over the years, and this is the first time you actually extended the invitation. I think it might be the second, actually. I think we talked about doing it during A24 a few years ago, but you've talked a lot about me with the panel, and now you've extended the invitation to talk to me.
All right, so this is what I might do. Because for some reason my phone is not working, guys. So if you guys are supporting the show, I don't know. I hope you guys do support the show. I might just do... I want to multi-stream. But I don't know if you guys can actually hear me. I can't access the stream on my phone. Like, what the hell? Let me restart my phone real quick, guys. Nothing is going well today, man. Hopefully y'all day is going better than mine. Hopefully somebody makes my day today. Alright. Yeah, look, it gets worse. Alright, let me let's go back into this real quick and then we'll catch up. Give me 1 second.
Of what your rising popularity says about the state of the conservative movement in America. So those are my goals from this interview. What are your goals? Why are you doing it?
I thought it'd be interesting. And, you know, you've talked a lot about me on your show over the years, and this is the first time you actually extended the invitation. The second, actually. I think we talked about doing it during A24 a few years ago, but you've talked a lot about me with the panel, and now you've extended the invitation to talk to me. And I think it'd be interesting for me to maybe clarify some positions and maybe get to know you a little better as well. So I'm looking forward to it.
There is a problem that you have two personas. There's one that you roll out now for podcasts and for shows like mine, where you come across as reasonable. And then there's your show on Rumble, where you often come across as having, a very unreasonable view on things. This is what Coleman Hughes said about you.
Nick Fuentes knows exactly. He is consciously playing this double game to become popular enough.
All right, hold on. We're going to run it back real quick. So basically, Nick, Piers Morgan is saying, Nick will talk to you guys, and then he'll run right back to his channel and start talking cash shit. That's what he does,
Cast for shows like mine, where you come across as reasonable. And then there's your show on Rumble, where you often come across as having, a very unreasonable view on things. This is what Coleman Hughes said about you.
Nick Fuentes knows exactly what he's doing. He is conscious of this double game as part of a long-term strategy to become popular enough to take the reins of power, at which point he plans to pivot towards the extreme policies.
Why is this thing doing this, man? What the hell? Give me 1 second, guys.
He advocates on Rumble.
It's a first of all.
Every time this pops up, this thing keeps going out. Hold on, guys.
Two personas. There's one that you roll out now for podcasts and for shows like mine, where you come across as reasonable. And then there's your show on Rumble, where you come across as having, a very unreasonable view on things. This is what Coleman Hughes said about you.
Nick Fuentes knows exactly what he's doing. He is consciously playing this double game as part of a long-term strategy to become popular enough to take the reins of power, at which point he plans to pivot towards the extreme and unpopular policies that he advocates daily on Rumble.
It's a fact.
Well, first of all, I would say that Coleman Hughes is a propagandist. He works for the Free Press, which is run by Barry Weiss. So I think you have to consider the source. And Barry Weiss is a pro-Israel partisan. Free Press is just bought out by CBS for $150 million by Larry Ellison or his son David Ellison. And so I think that's coming from a particular point of view, pretend like that's coming from a vacuum or from some fixed position. That's coming from a propaganda outlet that's in favor of Israel. That's first. But second, I would say he is right.
In America, we have like this problem where we have people that are quote unquote racist, right? So we have this problem where people are quote unquote racist, and give me 1 second. Yeah, we have this problem where we have people that are quote unquote racist, right? And people agree with them, but they don't want to openly say that they agree with them because it can mess up business. It can make corrupt people seem corrupt or whatever, for whatever reason and stuff like that. So people, they kind of, want to downplay it or pretend like it doesn't exist and stuff like that, because racism has gone covert. It makes a lot of money being covert. It doesn't make money if it's overt. You understand what I'm saying? And it comes off as unwelcoming. It's always been like that, 60s, 70s, always been like that, especially for other countries and other nations that don't, and it makes America look bad, makes the politics, it makes the corruption and stuff that actually goes on look bad. And you had a lot of people that got deplatformed from it, i.e., Nick Fuentes. So, you had like Farrakhan and a couple of other people. People was going in on what's his name at one point. Uh, Imus, Don Imus, and what's his name? The other guy. It was another guy. But anyway, even Alex Jones. Alex Jones is another big one. So you had a lot of people speaking out about it. But the thing is that one thing that they don't want people to know is how much in turmoil, or how much what people feel about the American people. Like, it's like, oh, America's effed up because of this and this, that, and the third, and blah blah blah. Or, oh, this week we're mad at Trump. You know what I'm saying? Because he did this, and this is not going along with that, and he lied to us and said that he's a Republican when he's making Democrat moves and all this other stuff. So people kind of, they get mad for whatever reason, and they fall out, and they, kind of show their colors and stuff. And here you have a guy like Nick Fuentes that's getting re-platformed, because I know a lot of you guys are unaware of the quote unquote deal, and I'm using air quotes, that YouTube has made with a couple of, that YouTube has made with other content creators and stuff like that. I guess it's because X, Elon Musk, they're kind of more of a, relaxed platform, or people are going over there and doing content and stuff like that. So I don't know. Their numbers just ain't looking right. They're probably losing people on the back end in certain cases, and just we're in a weird space right now when it comes to politics and everything. So they welcomed everybody back. So I guess if Nick wanted a channel on YouTube, he could probably do it. Or I guess if Farrakhan wanted his channel back, or for whatever reason, but it's just a lot of stuff that was going on, Kanye and all these other people and stuff like that. So anyway, he came at a crazy time. Pause. Like he's at a point right now where a lot of people that would have disagreed with him, whether they're racist or not, or agreed with him, he's at a point right now where a lot of people that wouldn't have agreed with him are starting to come around and agree with him. You know what I'm saying? And it looks like a young radical movement and stuff like that, because people are getting all of this misinformation about the red pill and politics, and what's happening to the young men of America today. Are they going through a loneliness epidemic, and what's going on, and why are these young men taking up political positions, and blah blah blah, and all this other roo-rah and hoo-ha shit. So this is who they crowning at the moment, Nick Fuentes, out of all people, I wouldn't even say they put what's his name, Andrew Wilson. I wouldn't say they put him on the chopping block, even though he's up there. But you guys see how the streets move after like a high ranking, and I'm using air quotes, gang member gets killed, or some high-ranking, person with notoriety in the streets get killed, you're kind of seeing how this shit plays with politics. Kind of seeing how it plays out with politics, because now the bullseye's on Nick Fuentes. Every once in a while, Andrew Tate. Nick said that people showed up at his house and tried to take him out and all this other stuff. So, ain't that crazy? How like in the quote unquote civil rights era, you had like a Martin Luther King tried to get taken out for doing something good, and then now we're in an era where somebody is quote unquote bad, and they're trying to get like, ain't that a bitch? Like, you get taken out if you're good, and you get taken out if you're bad or considered bad. What a world we live in, y'all. Let's go.
About the two personas. And I think that everybody understands this on some level. On my show, I make jokes and I use rhetoric and I'm hyperbolic because for a long time I had an audience that was small on these like dissident platforms. I was on D Live for many years. A lot of people don't even know what that is.
Yeah,
and so I had a small following, and we had sort of like an in-group sense of humor and memes and things like that. And you talk about it one way on a freewheeling live stream when I'm by myself and I'm ranting and we make jokes and we play devil's advocate, we play with different positions. But then when you sit down in an interview like this one and people ask me a good faith question, what do you actually believe? Well, then I clarify and I say, well, here I'm not joking. Here I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not being rhetorical. I'll tell you precisely what I believe. As far as this idea that I'm going to get power and then turn into Hitler, that just sounds totally insane to me. I'll be honest. It just sounds insane.
Do you have aspirations for political power?
Not really. I think that if I wanted to run for office, I wouldn't say a lot of the things that I say. I don't know that a lot of people would vote for me. I tend to offend everybody, even a lot of people that like me. So no, I'm a truth teller. I like to tell the truth. I like to do my live stream.
Who is Nick Fuentes? Tell me about your upbringing. I know you grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. Tell me about your early years.
I mean, crazy as kept. A lot of people want a troll in the damn White House. But out of all people, nigga, Nick Fuentes. Hell no. Donald Trump, and I'm pretty sure he does, talk shit about people after he done like met up with them and shit like that. He could actually back some of the shit that he talks up. Nick Fuentes meeting up with people and then going back to his platform and talking crazy about them. I don't know how well that'll play out. President? I don't know.
Or early how? Like my childhood or a little bit later?
Yeah, your childhood. Yeah.
I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago in LaGrange Park, as you say. My parents are ethnics. My father's half Mexican, half Irish. My mother's Italian. And they both came from a pretty rough upbringing themselves.
See, so that's crazy. He's not even, quote unquote, pure blood with the position that he's given and the position that people are, taking with him. And then the funny part is, I hate to make these comparisons, but if you look at it, the funny mustache man wasn't neither.
They both were raised by single mothers, not because of divorce, but because both of their fathers had died. They endured a lot of dysfunction. And I think that's one of the reasons they came together and they related to each other and they wanted to create a normal upbringing for their children. They wanted to have a normal family life. And so they moved out to LaGrange Park away from the city. And they raised me and my sister and really put us first. I think that's a big reason why I tend to have a lot of these family values or Christian values. My mother quit her job and stayed at home to raise us. And so I have a very close relationship with my parents, with my sister. We're a family. And we grew up in a pretty idyllic town. And maybe we can sort of get into a conversation about politics from this. I loved my upbringing. At home, my dad was working in a mostly white suburb in Chicago. I was maybe half Catholic, half Protestant. It was a baseball town. I played baseball for many years. In Chicago, we love our hot dogs. We have our baseball parade and get a hot dog. And so I love where I came from. I love the city. It's a working class city. I love the people here. They're very good, humble, down to earth, decent people. And I guess I had my political, not to jump ahead, but this is a big part of where my political awakening came from. I sort of left this bubble, if you could call it that, when I went to college in 2016 at university, a lot of things online, and I realized the country does not look like LaGrange Park. It doesn't look like Western Springs or Hinsdale or Elmhurst. It looks very different. The country's undergoing a radical transformation because of immigration. And so I saw that and I said, this is not really a desirable change. I don't like the south side of Chicago or LA or certain parts of Boston as much as I like where I came from. And I guess that's what made me an American nationalist. I said, I want to preserve my home and the things that are familiar to me and the things I like about my home, what makes it America. So that's a little bit about my background. I don't know where you want to go with that, but
I
suppose
my first obvious question is, were your parents immigrants to the United States, or were their parents, or were their grandparents? In other words, at some stage, I presume, there were immigrants in your family who came to the US. Is that correct?
There were. I believe my mother was fourth generation and my father was third generation. So their ancestors came here on my mom's side in the 1860s, I believe, the first wave of Italian immigration. My father's ancestors, I think they came around the turn of the century in 1900.
So your view of immigration, and we'll get to the specifics about your views on immigration, are they not affected at all by the fact that if it wasn't for immigration, you wouldn't exist as an American?
Well, I would certainly exist, but like you said, maybe not as an American. Certainly that's influenced in some measure. That the kind of immigration that we had for a long time in the country, it's different than the immigration that we have now. And let's just say for openers, it's different immigrants. They're coming from a different place with a different culture, a different religion. It's not the same as it was. So first, you have a qualitative difference. My ancestors, for the most part, I have 3 European grandparents from Ireland and Italy, 1 from Mexico. They came from Europe. They came from a society where there's a common ancestry, there's a common religion, common...
You know, it's crazy because black people are having these like weird FBA and lineage conversations. And on the other hand, the Glacier people are having the same fucking type of conversations and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But in a different capacity, you know? You have somebody that's like a quote unquote pure-blooded American looking at this like, bro, Piers is not from America. I don't know if they're gonna call Nick Fuentes a tether, but hey, I guess, you know, hey, everybody talk about America. Let's go.
Civilization. The people that have come in since 65, since Hart-Celler, they're coming from China, India, the Northern Triangle, Mexico, Venezuela. And so first, they're just different people. Secondly, it's a quantitative difference. There's way more, and it's an unceasing, always increasing wave. For the first 3 or 4 waves of immigration, you would have a major influx of immigrants, and then it would stop. And then you'd have another wave, and then it would stop. This one, it just keeps going up for 35 years, and it's too many. So that's really where I would draw the distinction between maybe where I originate from I would even just simply call that immigration. What this is an invasion. It's a completely different policy.
But you
can't
mentioned
even call it the same
but
thing.
you mentioned Mexico in that list, and your father is half Mexican.
So Piers is being slick, you know. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to go in on Nick Fuentes and challenge his ideals on immigration and stuff like that. Whereas Nick is saying that it's an invasion and stuff like that. And what Piers is trying to do is he's trying to say, well, isn't immigration the reason why you're here, or isn't immigration the reason why you're quote unquote an American and stuff like that? So, Piers is, trying to be slick a little bit, but you got, I'm pretty sure Nick Fuentes. This is not the first rodeo, but let's go.
Mexican. So
yeah,
I mean, by your criteria, part of the invasion would include your father, presumably, and his immediate descendants who came from Mexico.
Not really true, because when my father's ancestors came here, it was a small fraction of the total immigrants that came from Mexico. I don't believe that we should have zero immigrants forever, or even zero immigrants from non-white countries. But you have to draw the distinction. My father's father, he was here in the 40s and 50s. It was his parents, or I believe either his parents or grandparents, that came here even earlier. Up until 1965, 90% of the immigrants were coming from Europe. I have no problem with that. If we have 10% of them coming from Mexico or Latin America, maybe that's reasonable, but that's not what it is now. Now you've got 10 million illegals and foreigners under Joe Biden, and you got millions more legal immigrants from China, India, Venezuela, and it's so many with no break for assimilation, and they're all from non-white countries. It's transforming what America is. And again, that's the distinction. That's what makes it unacceptable.
He doesn't want it to be black. You know what I'm saying? But with these conversations, I don't understand. I don't understand, but I do understand. But I don't understand if a lot of people don't understand what's going on. Like I don't know if people understand what's actually going on. That's what I'm trying to say. Basically, I'm confusing myself, y'all. What's going on, Jay? Good to see you, man. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Yeah, my little connection is a little janky, man. But please hit the like button on the way in, and please support the show. You said majority of the immigrants come from Latin and Eastern Europe countries for the past 15 years. Yeah. Well, what I want to say is that, if you look on Time Magazine, they have a I've showed it, but now it's kind of really hard to find this article. But they had an article